Gentlemen, let's be real for a moment. Every man dreams of being the kind of guy who effortlessly connects with a woman, who makes her feel something deeper than just attraction. But what if I told you that it's not about looks, money, or even smooth talk? What if the real secret lies in how you make her feel when you speak? Not what you say, but the energy behind your words. Because the truth is, a woman doesn't give herself to a man she desires. She gives herself to a man she trusts. Too many men focus on impressing, on proving themselves, on chasing physical connection without realizing that true attraction begins long before touch. It starts in conversation, in curiosity, tone, and emotional rhythm. When you know the right questions to ask, when your energy is calm yet confident, when you can make her feel emotionally safe and seen, you don't need to convince her of anything. Her mind and heart will do the rest for you. This video isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about understanding women on a level most men never reach, the emotional level. Because when you speak to her emotions, her body naturally follows. When she feels understood, she relaxes. And when she relaxes, desire becomes effortless. So stay with me till the very end because I'm going to show you how powerful connection really is, how the right words, the right tone, and the right presence can make a woman feel something she can't ignore. This is about more than attraction. It's about awakening her trust, her curiosity, and her desire to be close to you. If you're ready to learn what most men never figure out, stay right here because by the end of this video, you'll never see communication, connection, or intimacy the same way again. Curiosity is one of the most underrated yet powerful forms of attraction. When a man shows real curiosity about a woman, it shifts the dynamic from trying to get her to genuinely wanting to understand her. Many men think confidence alone wins a woman's interest, but confidence without curiosity feels shallow. True intrigue comes when a man asks questions that reveal he is paying attention to her, not just her looks, but her words, her emotions, and her energy. Curiosity tells her that you value what's inside her mind just as much as what's outside, and that instantly separates you from the rest. When a woman feels that a man is truly listening, something softens in her. Her defenses drop because curiosity feels safe, not forceful. Instead of trying to control the interaction, you're allowing her to lead emotionally, to open up, to be expressive, to reveal who she really is. This act of being seen and heard activates deep emotional chemistry because it mirrors what every woman unconsciously desires to be understood without judgment. When your questions come from a place of genuine fascination, not strategy, she senses authenticity. That authenticity is magnetic because it feels rare in a world where most conversations are surface, level, or self serving. Curiosity is also biologically powerful. When a woman speaks about herself, her passions, her dreams, her memories, her brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with pleasure and attraction. So, when you ask the right kind of questions, you are literally helping her associate your presence with positive emotions. For instance, questions like, what kind of moment makes you feel most alive? Or what do you find beautiful that most people overlook? Go far beyond small talk. They invite her into an emotional space where intimacy starts to form naturally. There's also a quiet dominance in curiosity. It shows emotional confidence, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. By asking questions and listening without rushing to speak, you demonstrate control, patience, and depth. You show that you are not seeking validation, but genuine connection. Women are intuitively drawn to that kind of energy because it communicates maturity and security, two things that make her feel both relaxed and intrigued. Curiosity, when used correctly, doesn't make her feel interrogated, it makes her feel celebrated. When she feels that your attention is sincere and not transactional, her body responds to that emotional comfort. Attraction becomes a natural extension of the emotional connection you've created. Most importantly, curiosity builds anticipation. When a woman starts to feel emotionally connected and mentally stimulated, her mind begins to imagine what that same depth would feel like in a physical connection. That imagination is what turns curiosity into desire. So, curiosity is not about asking questions just to get her to open up. It's about creating a shared emotional rhythm. It's about letting her feel that you see her uniqueness and that you're genuinely drawn to it. When you engage her in that way, her attraction becomes voluntary, effortless, and deeply rooted. She's not responding to charm or confidence alone. She's responding to the feeling that someone truly wants to know her. And that feeling is where real intimacy begins. Emotional safety is the foundation of every meaningful and lasting intimate connection. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she doesn't just open up with her words. Her body, her energy, and her trust all begin to follow naturally. Many men misunderstand attraction as purely physical, but the truth is, desire for a woman is deeply emotional before it becomes physical. She cannot surrender her body unless her mind feels secure, respected, and valued. Emotional safety is not created through flattery or performance. It's built through presence, empathy, and genuine understanding. It's about creating a space where she can feel comfortable being herself without fear of judgment, pressure, or rejection. When you ask questions that show you care about her thoughts, her feelings, and her boundaries, you signal that you are different from the typical man who only seeks immediate gratification. This difference doesn't just appeal to her intellect, it speaks to her nervous system. Biologically, when a woman feels safe, her body produces oxytocin, a hormone that builds connection and trust. It relaxes her mind and allows her body to respond to touch and closeness more openly. When she feels emotionally unsafe, however, her body releases stress hormones like cortisol, which block arousal and closeness. So, safety isn't just an emotional concept, it's a physiological gateway to intimacy. Creating that safety starts with small actions, being attentive to her words, maintaining calm eye contact, and responding with patience instead of impatience. It's about allowing silence to exist in conversation without rushing to fill it. It's about showing that you're not just hearing her, but actually listening to her. Women pick up on subtle cues quickly, your tone, your pace, your energy. If they sense that your interest comes from desire rather than care, they close off. But if they sense warmth, presence, and respect, they relax. And when a woman relaxes, attraction flows naturally without resistance. Emotional safety also means showing consistency. Nothing builds trust faster than a man whose actions match his words. When you say something and follow through, you become someone she can rely on emotionally. That dependability tells her that intimacy with you won't lead to regret or emotional chaos. It makes her feel protected, not pressured. In that state, she allows herself to explore deeper levels of connection because she knows she's not being used, she's being understood. When a man can hold space for a woman's emotions, both light and heavy, he becomes a safe harbor in her world. She can share her vulnerability, her fears, and her desires without feeling exposed or judged. And when that emotional barrier dissolves, physical intimacy becomes an expression of mutual trust rather than a transaction of pleasure. What many men don't realize is that emotional safety is the real key to physical chemistry because the moment a woman feels safe in your energy, her mind quiets, her heart opens, and her body naturally follows where her emotions lead. That's when true connection, the kind that feels effortless and magnetic, begins to happen. Sensual communication is the bridge between emotional connection and physical chemistry. It's not about being explicit or suggestive, it's about using language that awakens her senses, draws her into the moment, and helps her feel the depth of your presence. When you ask a woman questions that make her visualize, feel, and imagine, you're not just speaking to her mind, you're speaking to her nervous system. The brain cannot distinguish between imagination and experience when emotions are involved. So, when your words paint vivid pictures, she begins to emotionally and physically respond as if the moment were real. That is the quiet art of sensual communication, creating an experience through conversation that stirs emotion without crossing boundaries. When you ask her what makes her feel desired, what kind of energy she finds magnetic, or what small moments make her feel most connected to someone, you invite her to reveal her sensuality without pressure. These kinds of questions give her permission to express parts of herself that are often hidden. Many women are deeply sensual but guarded, not because they lack desire, but because they fear being objectified or misunderstood. When your words make her feel safe to explore that side of herself, her comfort turns into curiosity, and curiosity turns into emotional intimacy. This form of dialogue builds tension, not the kind that feels heavy or forced, but the kind that feels electric and alive. Communication that engages the senses also helps her associate your presence with pleasure and peace. For example, when you speak calmly, when your tone carries warmth, when your eyes remain steady, you're already communicating sensually. Your energy becomes an extension of your words. A woman listens not just to what you say, but how you make her feel as you say it. When your voice, your pacing, and your intention align, you create emotional resonance, a subtle vibration of trust and attraction that lingers even after the conversation ends. This kind of energy is powerful because it builds anticipation instead of demand. It allows attraction to unfold rather than forcing it. Sensual communication also requires mindfulness. It's about being fully present, noticing her reactions, her expressions, her energy, and adjusting your words to match her emotional rhythm. When you do that, you show emotional intelligence and sensitivity, traits that women find deeply attractive. The more she feels that you're tuned into her, the more her body and mind synchronize with yours. This synchronization creates a sense of unity that feels both emotional and physical, even without touch. It's the feeling of being understood on a level beyond words. Sensual communication is about awakening her imagination. When she feels seen, heard, and emotionally stimulated, her mind begins to fill in the spaces that words leave open. She starts to wonder, to feel, to imagine. That inner experience is far more powerful than any line or compliment because it engages her emotions, her senses, and her fantasies all at once. And when you can do that through conversation, through tone, curiosity, and authenticity, you create connection that feels natural, magnetic, and unforgettable. The tone you use when speaking to a woman reveals far more than the words themselves. It's not only what you say, but how you say it that determines whether she feels safe, intrigued, or closed off. Respectful tone is one of the most powerful forms of communication because it tells her what kind of man you are before she even decides how to respond. When your voice carries patience, calmness, and steady confidence, it sends a message that you are emotionally grounded. It tells her that you're in control of your emotions, that you can handle her energy, and that you have no need to rush or prove yourself. This kind of energy builds subconscious trust. A woman's body and mind both relax when she senses that she is being spoken to, not spoken at. Respect is deeply sensual because it signals safety. A woman's attraction isn't just a reaction to charm or looks, it's a reaction to how you make her feel in your presence. When she feels that your tone values her boundaries and emotions, she becomes more receptive. Her nervous system begins to shift from guardedness to openness. The human body, particularly a woman's body, is designed to respond to safety first. Only when she feels emotionally secure does her physiology allow arousal, intimacy, and closeness. This is why a respectful tone can be more powerful than any flirtatious line. It allows her to feel that she can trust your intention without second guessing what you really want. Tone also reflects maturity. A man who listens carefully and speaks thoughtfully radiates emotional intelligence. He's not impulsive or reactive, he's present. And presence, for a woman, is irresistibly attractive because it shows she has your full attention. When you slow down your speech, maintain a relaxed rhythm, and allow space for her to respond, she feels that she's part of a shared experience rather than a target of your pursuit. That shift changes everything. Instead of feeling like she's being seduced, she feels like she's being seen. A respectful tone also carries with it a subtle invitation. It allows her to feel safe expressing her feminine energy. When she senses patience and sincerity in your voice, she begins to mirror that calmness. Her own tone softens, her eyes linger longer, her words become more vulnerable. You've created an emotional environment where she can let her guard down naturally, and the more she relaxes, the more attraction deepens, because connection isn't about pressure, it's about presence. Respectful communication extends beyond the sound of your voice. It's also in your facial expressions, your posture, your pauses. Every part of your body language contributes to the tone you set. When you maintain gentle eye contact, when you don't interrupt, when you respond with understanding instead of defense, you're communicating that her comfort matters to you. That kind of consideration doesn't just earn her respect, it awakens her desire. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe and valued, her body starts to trust her own desire again. The connection becomes effortless, authentic, and mutual. The tone you use becomes the unspoken language that tells her she can trust not just your words, but your presence. And once she trusts that, intimacy becomes something she welcomes, not something she resists. Connection before seduction is the foundation of real intimacy, and the difference between temporary attraction and lasting desire. When a man focuses on connecting emotionally first, he taps into the part of a woman that craves to be understood, not conquered. Too many men approach intimacy as a performance or an achievement, trying to make something happen rather than allowing something to unfold. But genuine attraction is not built through pressure, it's built through presence. When your energy is calm, your questions sincere, and your attention undivided, she feels that your intention is to know her, not just to have her. That shift alone changes everything because women respond to emotional energy far more than physical appearance or scripted words. When you connect before you seduce, you give her permission to feel safe expressing her natural femininity. Emotional connection activates her mind, which in turn opens her heart, and only then does her body follow. Seduction that begins with connection is not manipulation, it's alignment. It's showing her that her emotions matter, that you're listening, and that you're present enough to make her feel like the only person in the room. When she feels seen, her desire awakens effortlessly because it's grounded in trust. The chemistry that follows isn't something forced. It's something both of you create through energy, respect, and emotional awareness. Every meaningful question, every patient pause, every genuine compliment that acknowledges her spirit rather than her appearance builds connection. It communicates emotional intelligence, and that kind of awareness is rare. It's easy to compliment a woman's beauty. It's far more powerful to make her feel beautiful through how you treat her. When she senses that your attention is driven by appreciation, not expectation, she relaxes into her authenticity. That relaxation is the most natural form of seduction there is because it removes fear and resistance from the equation. She doesn't need to guard herself because she senses you're not trying to take something, you're trying to share something. Connection before seduction also reveals your emotional maturity. It shows that you understand the deeper rhythm of attraction, where intimacy is not rushed, but built layer by layer through trust, laughter, and understanding. This approach doesn't just make her want you, it makes her choose you. It transforms what could have been a fleeting encounter into a meaningful connection that lingers in her mind and emotions long after the conversation ends. Because the truth is, women remember how a man made them feel more than anything he said or did. When connection comes first, seduction becomes natural, not because you've asked the right questions, but because you've created the right emotional atmosphere. She feels safe, desired, and valued all at once. That's what opens her heart and her desire simultaneously. In that moment, intimacy becomes more than an act, it becomes a shared experience of energy, trust, and emotional closeness. And when a woman feels that She doesn't need to be convinced. She's already ready to meet you there, fully and willingly, because her heart got there first. Real intimacy isn't built through clever lines, confidence tricks, or surface attraction. It's built through emotional awareness. When you understand that a woman's desire begins in her mind and heart, everything changes. The power isn't in trying to make her say yes, it's in making her feel seen, heard, and emotionally safe enough to want to say yes on her own. Every question you ask, every word you speak, and every tone you use can either create distance or build connection. And when you choose connection first, seduction becomes effortless, natural, and mutual because women don't fall for words, they fall for presence. They remember how you made them feel, not what you tried to get from them. If you learn to communicate with emotional depth, to listen without judgment, and to show curiosity instead of control, you'll find that intimacy is not a struggle, it's a flow. You won't have to chase or convince. Your energy will draw her in. That's the secret most men never learn, that understanding her emotions is the most powerful way to reach her desires. So take these lessons not as tactics, but as truth, connection before seduction, curiosity before confidence, and respect before romance. Those are the real keys to unlocking authentic attraction that lasts far beyond the moment. Thank you for watching and for choosing to learn something deeper about human connection and intimacy. You're already ahead of most because you're not just chasing pleasure, you're seeking understanding. That's what makes a man truly powerful, not just in the bedroom, but in every part of life. So go forward with patience, with presence, and with purpose. Build connections that inspire trust, desire, and warmth. You deserve a connection that feels real, and so does she. Good luck, stay confident, stay curious, and remember real attraction starts with understanding, not expectation. Thank you for being here, and take care of yourself and the hearts you touch along the way.